Hello, Oscar.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Star Wars again.
I love Star Wars.
We've done this more than once.
Yes.
But now we're doing it more than whatever number it is.
Whatever number comes after once.
Yes. I think it's all of them.
Once upon a time, there was a number. It was known as all.
Anyway. So today we have Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D versus...
Alright, I'm here too. Versus Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
The game.
The game.
A game of chance, the fastest ever built.
On PC, I think only PC, right?
It is also on PS1.
Oh, there we go. A different version, I guess.
You have to be some kind of weirdo if you played it on PS1.
Yes. So I played Rogue Squadron 3D.
Yes.
And you played Episode 1 Phantom Menace. A game, we could start there. A game that you have a certain amount of history with.
Yes, I did actually play this game as a child, allegedly, because I owned it. And the reason I owned it was because I wanted to play it. And I played it a lot when I was a kid. Therefore, it was very interesting playing it again with a fully developed brain this time. I won't immediately say that, oh, the game is so bad, it's so terrible, screw this game and all that, because I think this game is really interesting. It's really interesting that this game was made and exists. And the reason why it's interesting is because this is one fucked up game. It's incredibly fucked up, this game.
I think there are fucked up qualities to it. I would say that the game is odd.
Yes.
And it has fucked up qualities. It's not like you make it sound like it's, what's that weird meme thing all these forever online weirdos do, the whole scary creature in the facility thing. What's it called?
You mean SCP?
Yeah. It's not, you make it sound like it's an SCP thing or something.
I don't think I make it sound like it's an SCP thing.
Is the game extremely fucked up?
Yes. In this game, you play as a lot of different characters from the hit movie Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
These characters have a common trait in that they are all capable of indiscriminate mass murder, and the game has a lot of, the developers clearly anticipate that the players will do weird and fucked up stuff in the game, because the game is entirely voiced. For example, it has, it has NPCs in it. It has, you're in Mos Espa as Qui-Gon walking around talking to Tatooineans.
Yeah, the game is it's a mix between like a light RPG and an adventure game and some 3D platforming and some combat,
Yeah, it has a bit of an identity crisis, I feel, because it's not, quite an action game. It's not an RPG. It's not quite, an adventure game. It's just like every level in the game seems to be made for a different game, but in the same engine. Not like something like, Shadows of the Empire, but it's very strange. In terms of how it controls, it's a bit unique because it has, a top-down perspective, which you might not really expect.
It's kind of like the camera is bound to your character, but you're kind of looking at him from an angle, but it's a pretty steep angle.
Yeah, but it gives you kind of the feeling the entire game that you go through the entire game without ever really seeing anything. You don't really experience a lot of the environments.
Yeah, you don't get close to stuff.
But what's interesting is that a lot of the gameplay, when it comes to combat and stuff, depending on if your playable character is a Jedi or non-Jedi, you either fight mostly, with a lightsaber and force powers, or you just, shoot gun, etc. When you're using the lightsaber, you kind of feel like you obviously, chop down people with the lightsaber. That's whatever. But it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel like the game is, intended to be played that way, and the lightsaber is only for reflecting back, like blaster bolts or whatever. And you definitely need the lightsaber, in my opinion, to survive as Jedi, because you face, like a million battle droids that just shoot, and you have to deflect. But if you start using, ranged weapons, then you have to, aim with this top-down camera, and you can't really see what's going on.
No, you're sort of shooting off screen.
Yeah, because the game is no tank controls. as well, like something like, Resident Evil or whatever, but from this weird perspective. Basically, you go through the entire game feeling like you're doing something wrong the entire game, is how it feels to play. But never mind how it feels to play. What's really great about the game, which I genuinely like this about the game, is that it has a lot of, wow, you can do that in the game. And what that usually is just, murdering everyone you see. When we played it, this part of the game really came into its own during the Mos Espa segment, where we played as the canon protagonist of Star Wars, Lord Qui-Gon Jinn himself.
I don't sense anything.
I'll give a bit of a backstory that nobody cares about here. Once upon a time, we played the Wolfenstein games.
Yeah, I should say I think it isn't only Wolfenstein and this, but those are definitely the standouts.
That's the one to bring up. But
we played this over Parsec.
Yes.
These games, so I connected to view your, I guess, quote-unquote desktop view of these games.
Yes, in one of the Wolfenstein games, I think it was Old Blood.
I think it was both.
Yeah.
I think all the Wolfenstein
Yes,
games.
exactly. There were several occasions or incidents, you could say, where my fire button gets stuck. It's weird. Like, it was like my game was haunted, and there was like this, because there's this section in the game where you're like, oh, you're on a car or a boat or whatever it was, and you have this big mounted minigun, and you just, like, shoot bada 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 all over. And then I started making this kind of joke. Like I said, or I don't think it was a joke at first. At first, it was like, oh, my fire button is stuck. I can't stop firing the gun. It's just firing. And then, I started, pretending like that happened a few times more. Like, oh, look, it's weird. It was really funny. Trust me, it was really great. And what ended up happening was that this ended up happening, for real, a lot in the game, that it just started, firing without, any input. And I didn't know how to stop firing the gun. And it became insanely funny how it's like because maybe like now there's a section where, oh, you have to sneak past these Giga Nazis or whatever, and then BJ will just randomly like and it became insane. It became completely Lynchian, and because I was the boy who cried wolf, who had been like, Lilo, you have to believe me, I was joking before, but now it's actually happening. And you were like, it's too weird that you're making like a joke like this. Like, can you stop? I said, no, but you have to believe it. And it just kept going like that. And the exact same thing happened in episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And it started happening in Mos Espa. And what you do in Mos Espa in the game is like, up until this point, the game has been kind of, like action levels. You're playing as Obi-Wan, just, killing battle droids and, chopping down the Neimoidians or whatever. Then eventually you get to Mos Espa, which is more of a, there's less combat, and it's more, do these fetch quests with Qui-Gon, trying to get the hyperdrive working, and you go talk to NPCs and stuff. Then it started being that, I'd stand and talk to an NPC, ask Qui-Gon, and it'd be like, something T14 hyperdrive generator, something slash all my prices, and then just pull out lightsabers, start murdering them, and I would be like, no, stop, no, because
Yeah, this happened several times in a way that was like, you can kill any NPC in these games, but you can't kill any NPC in this game without consequence. If you just kill everyone on Mos Eisley, you'll just be stuck forever.
Yeah,
and they'll also say, I can't believe you killed everyone. You'll
have like children running around being like, the Master Jedi is killing all of my parents and it's horrible.
So if you're talking to Watto and he's like, Neimoidian cruiser, and then Qui-Gon just kills him, you have to reload the game.
Yes, and there's no save states, there's nothing like that. So it became like, it felt like I was playing, like hardcore mode where with permadeath or something, where I became so hyper tense about it. And the game is already kind of difficult to control. It's a bit weird. Also, the game ran like shit. It was being able to stream this game on Parsec was, some
black magic.
Truly black occult magic. And every time I started the game, I had to tab in, tab out. The game would just crash randomly all the time. So it was like, already the experience of the game was it would crash randomly. you would just die to some stupid bullshit and have to do it all over again. And so I didn't need in my life that Qui-Gon would randomly decide to just start blasting or swinging. In this case, it became extremely funny. It was
Yes.
unfathomably entertaining.
This phenomenon, it has since then stopped happening.
Yes, and I generally do not know why. It's
It
very strange.
from the beginning of Wolfenstein to episode 1, it's maybe it was like a 4-year period or something
Yeah.
where it would randomly occur in games. And I am here to tell you, Oscar.
Today he's teaching me a lesson. Thought I'd seen it all, but I'd never seen true cruelty. Until now. Count to 4. Inhale. Count to 4. Exhale.
That it was me all along.
I can believe it, because I just realized how Parsec works.
And it's been so great to sit on this and I have vehemently 100% in every opportunity denied that I have had anything to do with this, but it was me. Qui-Gon didn't randomly decide to slice people only when you were talking to them. I just decided to press the button.
Well, you might think that I would have suspected this, but I guess I am too much of a nice and trusting person who would never believe.
Well, you did ask me, and I did very much lie directly to your
Yes,
face.
but I know you lie all the time, so I should have been more on my guard.
Yes.
But alas.
Yes. It was still funny, and it was
Yes.
funny for me, and the game is still... I don't know. It has great saber animations
Yes,
as well, so
it does.
seeing Qui-Gon gut someone is pretty amazing.
You know who's in this game?
Panaka.
Yes.
I just found out his name is Quarsh.
His name is what?
Quarsh Panaka.
Oh.
He's he's goofy. Quarsh Panaka. Yeah, I guess you have to touch upon that. The game is pretty difficult, especially if you have to play as a Jedi. So in order to finish this game, we cheated and we played as Quarsh Panaka instead. And I think we unlocked every weapon, so you just had infinite rocket launcher ammo.
Yeah.
Which means Panaka was the hero of episode 1.
He's certainly the most deadliest hero.
Yeah, blasted Darth Maul to
Yeah.
bits. Up against episode 1 is a game I played, which is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D, which I guess is a bit of a flight simulator, a light flight simulator, flight light simulator, in which you are a member of the eponymous Rogue Squadron under Luke Skywalker. Or do you play as Luke? No, you don't, right?
I don't know who you play as in that game.
I have history with both of these games,
Yes.
I should say.
I remember you were pretty excited about playing them.
Yes, I touched upon last episode that I had a friend who had an SNES, and I had another friend who was my actual neighbor who had a gaming PC, which we didn't really have when I was super little. That's where I played Diablo 2 for the first time. And he had episode 1. And he also had a Nintendo 64 where he had Rogue Squadron. So shout out, Nils. You and your fucking spoiled ass home. But yeah, I was excited to play Rogue Squadron 3D because I had good memories of it. We did play the PC version, not the Nintendo 64 one. To say I was disappointed would be a misnomer, I guess,
Yeah.
because it would be it would be so far down on the scale of feelings.
Yeah, I want to point out that I don't usually take notes, but I have one note for Rogue Squadron, which I have written down as thoughts about Rogue Squadron. Lilo did not like the game because as I remember it, and it's not like putting you on the spot or anything, but like I've never seen you so angry over a game, or like you were so upset playing the game. That's mainly what stuck with me with the game. I don't remember much about the actual game. I just remember thinking like, well, maybe this is the end of Star Wars. Maybe we'll abort this thing here.
Yeah.
So.
Both a good and bad quality in me and you, I suppose, is that I tend to just never quit out of something. I'll just finish it. You and me, not for the podcast or anything, have played all the Kingdom Hearts games.
Yes, we don't like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh no, we hate them. And I played Kingdom Hearts 1, and then it was like, oh, the next game is I want to say Chains of Mystery, but I think it's Chains of Memory.
Chains of something.
Yeah, which you were supposed to play. And I think you played maybe a minute of it.
It was the weird card one.
Yeah, the card GBA
which is
game.
perfect because I notoriously hate card games. Like I can't handle when video games have like card stuff in it.
Yeah, so I suffered. We didn't play any 1.5 remix or anything. I suffered through the entirety of Kingdom Hearts, and then you flushed Chains of Memories in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Which means I then went on to play all the Kingdom Hearts games, for good or bad. And I think I probably ought to just have flushed Rogue Squadron after a level or two, because it's basically all the levels are the exact same level. You're in this, all the levels are, motocross madness to...
Yeah, exactly like that. A little
generated,
crater in a 3D polygon, it's whatever.
And it has intense fog of war. Like you can't see anything. There's random turrets everywhere. It feels like a Lego game. It doesn't feel like a real Star Wars thing. Everything feels like sort of model versions, which is exacerbated by the fact that there are trains in every fucking level you have to protect. So you don't get to just fly around the level either.
Yeah. And it's also, since you mentioned the trains, because I remember the trains, there are so many things in the game that feels a lot like, is this really Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like, is Star Wars, couldn't they have thought up more stuff for a Star Wars flight sim thing that isn't just, oh, here's the enemy tanks. Here's trains.
Exactly.
Here's there's all these things that doesn't really have like any.
By the way, you're never in space in Rogue Squadron 3D.
Yeah.
You're always in a fucking canyon somewhere.
I think the only level where you're in space technically is like, it's the Death Star Trench Run bonus level or whatever, which I don't think we didn't play.
No, we didn't play that one.
Yeah.
I think did I finish it? We did play the last level with the
It's a bit weird because, how do you finish the game? It doesn't really have a proper narrative structure, I feel like. But I think if you would put it down on paper, I think we flushed it, because I don't think we played every level.
We did play the last level though, which is an unlock with I think it's supposed to be some sort of like terraformers or something.
Oh yeah, the world destroyers.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. We did play that level, in which you play, because you get to use a bunch of like iconic Star Wars vehicles. They all feel like shit to use, but in the end you get to use this new thing they made for the game, which is called like a Z-wing or like a XYZ wing or something.
I have no idea.
They them wing, which just looks like Action Man toy. It sucks. The hangar is cool though.
Yeah, we love a hangar.
We've already gushed about Pod Racers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And the hangar is pretty close to that.
I think I prefer the episode 1.
Yeah, I do as well, because the hangar is just the hangar.
Yes.
I think one of the things we didn't, or I guess we haven't gotten to that game yet. I had put Squadrons and Battlefront 2 as one game.
Easy mistake to make.
We'll get to that one. But that game does one thing that is semi-cool, which is that you get to like sit inside your X-Wing in a hangar and look out. Oh, look at all the buttons. I wanted that for Rogue Squadron 3D. I want to look at weird Nintendo 64 era versions of like, give me a menu where I get to switch the hyperdrive on something and just look at parts. But it doesn't have that.
No, it doesn't.
It has really boring and shit-looking mission briefings. I think we're gonna cut Rogue Squadron 3D.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron has nothing to offer. It was potentially exciting to have like, oh, you get to fly around in spaceships, but I don't really care about spaceships in Star Wars. And, game bad. Episode 1 was fun. Qui-Gon's a mass murderer. etc.
Do you wanna? We could read the reviews and then we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I can begin. You give me your phone and I'll read the Rogue Squadron review. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3D is a game where you fly around far too slowly in Omega 4 fog of war poop levels. Why is there always a whore train? Is that where he works, do you think?
Most likely.
Why are all levels except 3 escort missions? Luke is an idiot. Let me fly whatever ships I want. I've forgotten that you have to pick the fucking... You have to... All fighters have popped Adrenaline Rush plus prep plus Adrenaline Rush. I don't know what that refers to. There are some cool cutscenes. I like the flavor with the hangar and that you can get info about your ships before you choose. The controls are shit. There is zero variety in the whole game. The radar requires an Einstein to use. Fucking weird ass camera that zooms out 9 quintillion and then there's a 9 with many zeros.
15 zeros, I think.
15 zeros.
I'm not sure.
If you boost whatsoever. How in the entire hell is throwaway once in the game Hoth sequence in Shadows of the Empire 100 times more immersive and better controlling than this? Cheats are good because the game is dick.
There it is. I looked up how many zeros you had put
You
down.
said 15, we'll go with that.
Sure.
You wouldn't lie.
I think it's way more than 15. Maybe it's 18 or 19. Alright, so the review
For episode 1.
for episode 1. This review is considerably shorter.
Yes.
The
Reviews did increase in length
Yes.
and girth.
And this is a very early review.
Yes.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Talking to people and RPG crap is fun. LOL. Qui-Gon butchers kids. Bugs and game being hard to get to run is whack, but also funny. Captain Panak is a happy Shad. I love Captain Panak.
Paneer.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace easily moves on. I think Phantom Menace so far is probably... We haven't done Shadows of the Empire,
No.
right? No. Phantom Menace, for me, is probably up there with Episode 1 Racer so
Yes.
far in terms that might be considered
Yeah,
good.
I feel like Phantom Menace definitely is a contender for a game that can go far.
Yeah.
In this, there's a lot of games that are just you're here, but you will never go anywhere. You
Yeah.
will be destroyed.
Yeah, like Super Star Wars.
Yeah, with a world destroyer from hit video game Rogue Squadron 3D.
Shut up.
I'm Anakin's father. The real father. I will find you.